So it has come to my attention that there is a brand new Dragon Ball theme park that is going to be released in Saudi Arabia. Now, for those of you who haven't seen the trailer yet, we're going to watch this together and then come back to discuss afterwards.
A wish has been granted. Calling adventurers from across the globe.
Around the world are converging on Saudi Arabia after the discovery of Dragon Balls with wish-granting powers.
To experience an unprecedented, immersive entertainment destination. Here, fantasy and thrills collide. Play a part in the epic sagas, coming to Saudi Arabia, in the first city built for play.
So the first thing that we have to discuss, guys, is the location. And I understand that this is going to be the biggest setback for most people who would want to go, because most people aren't going to be willing to go to Saudi Arabia. I mean, I understand, like, if this was in America, if this was even in Japan, if this was in Britain, you know, I could totally understand a lot of people actually wanting to go to this place, but I can see that because of a lot of things that we're not going to discuss, Saudi Arabia would not be a choice for a lot of people to want to attend this theme park. But at the same time, I argue that it is an extremely wealthy nation, and considering the fact that it is an extremely wealthy nation, that means that this production value is going to be off the charts. And I think of this theme park as a once-in-a-lifetime kind of thing. It's not something like Disney World, where once every year, you know, you can take your family to this or something like that. This is like a once in a lifetime, like you save up to, you know, go with your kids or go with your wife and you go to this magical Dragon Ball theme park and you scratch it off your bucket list as a Dragon Ball fan. I think that is the kind of thing that we can expect with a theme park like this. But to actually go directly into the trailer itself, there's definitely some things that we have to point out. So I really like the fact that they're marketing this extremely well to English speaking fans, because they assume most people who would want to go to this would either speak English or Japanese. And look at this.
A wish has been granted.
So they start off with the 4-star Dragon Ball. I really like this idea because obviously the 4-star Dragon Ball is the most iconic Dragon Ball in Dragon Ball.
Has been granted.
The special effects are pretty good, I'd say, for a commercial.
Globe.
So I like this. So what I like is they're making this feel extremely international, where people from different parts of the world are like picking up Dragon Balls and having a reason to want to go to this theme park. I think that that's a great intro for all of this. Now, what I think was the best part of this trailer is this sequence here where we actually see that there's a woman on the news who's actually talking about it, making it feel like something that we would actually see on the news. So I felt that that in itself is extremely engaging. So whoever came up with the marketing idea was extremely smart here.
Saudi Arabia after the discovery of Dragon Balls with wish-granting powers.
To experience an unprecedented, immersive entertainment.
Now this is what I love right here, guys. They have Kami's lookout in the background, and you can't really make out a lot of the extra stuff, but you can actually see Shenron in the back here. You can actually see also Korin's tower to the left over here. So all of this right now, guys, really makes it seem like this is an actual place we would see in Dragon Ball. Now, what it would actually look like in person, we don't know, but at least we have an idea or a model of the kind of things we would expect to go to in this theme park.
Destination.
Now, I love this sequence right here with the Capsule Corporation and the stadium in the background here. This, guys, seems like a dream. Like, honestly, I've always wanted to go to a Dragon Ball theme park. I'm sure many of us have. And even looking at the styles of the buildings right here, like, you can see, like, the buildings in the background look very Dragon Ball styled. Like, they got the attention to detail to perfection in this trailer. Kame House, Master Roshi. So you can see people over here, and we can't really make out exactly where this is. This seems to be somewhat of like a capsule house that we've seen throughout numerous parts of Dragon Ball. Now, right here, we could actually see that a lot of people are walking around on Kame House. And the interesting thing about all of this is the fact that Kame House is a place where not that many people visit at once. Like, if you really think about it, the most amount of people we've ever seen on Kame House was around the time prior to the 23rd tournament, right after the defeat of King Piccolo, where everybody was wished back, and for a few years, those people were living on Master Roshi's island. But seeing this being recreated here is beautiful, and you could probably imagine that they have, like, some things inside of Master Roshi's house, like, you know, dirty magazines and stuff, in, like, a Master Roshi replicant and such, or, like, some guy who's cosplaying him. So I think that this adds a lot of mystique to this theme park. Alright, we see a kid here doing a Kamehameha. Capsule Corp. Now, this is a better close-up view of the Capsule Corporation, and we can actually see that it seems very interactive. You could go in here and probably imagine a whole bunch of Dragon Ball technology. I assume that the Capsule Corp is probably going to be the most visited aspect of this theme park, because I could imagine that all of the Dragon Ball kind of technology would be in there. That's what I would assume if we go to the Capsule Corp. And we could see all of the 7 Dragon Balls are right here in front of Shenron Shenlong.
Here, fantasy and thrills
And we have
collide.
the roller coaster ride. Probably going to be the best roller coaster ride there.
Coming to Saudi Arabia, in the first city built for play.
Now, after an additional viewing, after editing this video for you guys, I made a couple of observations. The first interesting thing is of course we have the 4-star Dragon Ball that shows up right here. That this is Japan. And to be specific, the way that we can identify that this is definitively Japan is that if we look in the background here, for those who don't know, I'm sure most of you guys know this, that is actually the Tokyo Tower. So because of the fact that you see the father and the son with the baseball, and obviously Japan has an affinity with baseball, so that's an extra reference. You could also see this in conjunction with the fact that Japan got the 4-star Dragon Ball. So it's great that the trailer gave Japan an exclusive feel in this trailer, as the first country that was shown got the 4-star Dragon Ball, which was the first Dragon Ball that was shown. We can also see here that when we go over to the Kame House, when you see the kid doing the Kamehameha, I could imagine something else here too, guys. Maybe the Kame House is not only a place that you visit to see like what Master Roshi's house would look like in 3D, but it could be a place where we could like see a guidebook of like different martial arts techniques that were used throughout Dragon Ball, because obviously you're doing a Kamehameha, this kid is wearing goggles and stuff like that. But going more so into the rides, I wanted to leave this video with an open-ended question about what kind of rides do you expect? Now, of course, we see this major one here where they're riding on this one here, what appears to be on Shenron. So that seems to be something that a lot of us would assume, but what other type of rides can you imagine? I can imagine a ride where you're going in one of the spaceships or potentially one of the time machines. I think something with a time machine would be an interesting ride, and you're going throughout Dragon Ball history and seeing a bunch of different things in this time machine, so everybody has like a time machine pod. A space roller coaster would be really cool, and on this spaceship machine you can imagine it traveling to the planet of the Kais, planet Namek, planet Vegeta, and all of the various planets that we've seen throughout Dragon Ball history. And last but not least, I can imagine a roller coaster fight. So it's kind of like a struggle where the roller coaster is like corresponding to like a battle going on between characters. So you make like a Goku Vegeta roller coaster where like characters are pushing left and right and the craziness of the battle is being affected in the roller coaster in some way. All of those are things that I can imagine could be additional things we could see in this theme park, but obviously we need more details until next time. Now, if we can go back a second here, guys, if we could see everything zoomed out at night, right here, it looks absolutely beautiful. Like, this seems like an actual Dragon Ball city. And I can only imagine how much the Saudis are paying for this, but we're assuming this is going to be in the hundreds of billions that they're going to put into this theme park. But I can imagine that this is definitely going to get a lot of people to travel internationally because a lot of people do visit Disney World internationally. And I could also imagine that this is the start of a lot of different things where they can create like a Naruto themed park or a One Piece themed park or a Yu-Gi-Oh themed park. Like, this could be the beginning of something great because there's a lot of space in the desert. And, you know, whenever money flows, I mean, people will always come towards and seeing this. But honestly, I could also imagine that this building right here could also be a hotel. So this isn't actually a place to visit, but this is more so like a staying lodge or something like that. And several other buildings that we're not seeing here in the design set are going to be accessible for staying in the hotel, because obviously they're assuming most people aren't going to be natives to Saudi Arabia. So overall, guys, I thought this trailer was amazing. I'm extremely stoked for it, but this is one of those things where you can't get a typical plane ticket and then just fly over and go over to wherever you need in America or someplace in Europe. This is a place where you're going to have to really invest a lot of money to travel internationally. There's probably a lot of you that don't even have a passport, because many people are so domestic they don't even leave the country. And on top of all of that, guys, I just think that a lot of people aren't going to attend because of the financial barriers along with the travel barriers. But despite all of that, guys, this is a once-in-a-lifetime dream for Dragon Ball fans, and if everything works out, I am definitely going to go on a trip to this place and film it for you guys. So that's all I really have to say about this trailer. I wish it was getting more hype, but I could definitely also understand that a lot of people are just looking at it and saying, yeah, it's great, but I can't go to Saudi Arabia. And for all those reasons, I totally understand. But until next time, guys, this is all I gotta say.